Hey, did you know these are plums? Me neither. This whole time, like 2 years now, almost 2 years we've been here, I thought that this tree and the little one next to it and the big one over there, I thought I had 3 cherry trees because they were blooming way before anyone else. They had the little white flowers, so cute. And they, until like 2 weeks ago, were making clusters of many tiny little green round fruits, and I was like, yes, it's cherries. It's not cherries, it's plums. Which is fine, we like plums. But this does change how I'm gonna take care of the tree. I had been reading that in places where the springs are real warm and wet, like it is here, you should try to wait to prune your cherry trees until summer when the weather calms down. That helps stop the spread of like bacteria and fungi. So I haven't pruned these this year. Also, I didn't thin any of the fruit because I thought they were cherries, and you don't thin cherries. So they are plums, and they did make plum fruit. However, they are all yucky. They've got some kind of fungus on them. Really grody, not fun. I ended up pulling all the fruit off of the little tree over there. Whether it was infected already or not, I knew it was going to be by the end of the season, so the fruit on these 3 is a wash for now, for this year. But now I know what they are, so that's cool. Yeah, see these? Not so appetizing. And then even the ones that did not get yuckified, they all have, they all got bug bit. I grabbed a bunch of them and tried to cut out the bad spots, see how much I could salvage, and it wasn't enough to really make it worth my time. Speaking of disease, this crunchy shepherd's crook shape here on the end of a new growth, that's a sign of a bacterial infection called fire blight. And when we hop over to a pear tree, it'll be a little more obvious how it got its name, but it also spreads like wildfire, especially when it's warm and wet out. So there's really no saving this branch. There's nothing I can spray on it or do to it. I'm just gonna have to find a spot 6 to 10 inches back from where it starts to die. Sorry, little apple. It's gonna be down here somewhere, and I'm just gonna have to cut the whole thing out. Go in the dirty bucket. And then between every cut I make, I've got like 1 part bleach and 9 parts water up in here. Just gonna give my tools a little swish. Kill the bacteria before I move on to another branch. I don't want to speak too soon on this, because I'm not entirely sure this is the reason, but I have still been spraying the trees with that holistic microbe blend every other week, and I've noticed a difference, especially here, because they're right next to each other and I can see it. So the tree on the right, look, has maybe one little flag there. I think a leaf or 2 in the back. This guy is gonna take me probably all day to get through. I don't know if it's the spray or not, but I'm hoping it is. It's at least a promising sign, I think. See, here's the same thing but in a pear tree. And now we can tell why they call it fire blight. See how it looks all burnt on the end? The leaves turn all black. It's a lot more pronounced in a pear. Remember this little guy? Maybe not, because he's got leaves now. This is one of the little pears that I almost burned to death with nitrogen a couple months ago, and all its leaves turned black and crumpled off. My bad. Anyway, I don't condone this at all. I don't recommend deliberately doing that, but I think when I accidentally almost killed him and all his leaves fell off, I may have broken a disease cycle. So you can, if you zoom in, you can see how he's got, whoops, where are we at? little black spots all over his leaves. And he looks really rough right now. Like, this is a lot of spots. I haven't had the time to really identify what disease this is, but I can say that he looks 1,000 times better than the baby pear next door that I did not almost murder. See, this little apple is a good example. Down on the one side there, got a row of garlic planted. I never intended to really let them grow big and harvest them. Garlics are supposed to keep away little nibblers like voles and moles and mice and deer too. Critters in general do not like garlic and onions and stuff, so they're doing their job just sitting there. And then up here, we had nasturtiums growing. Whoops, a boot. We had nasturtiums growing for a little bit. Late June hit. It's been 85, 90 degrees every day, so they kind of quit on us. But just as they did, the marigolds started blooming, so that worked out nice. These are scarlet runner beans. I was trying to get them to run up the trunk of the tree, but they like the poles better. They are, after all, just teeny, skinny little beans. The blossoms are all gone now, but these are the poppies I planted last year. They actually made it through the winter. I was really surprised, and then they took off as soon as spring got here. And I liked them so much, they were so pretty, that I gave them some friends. So we now have multiple poppy patches. Plural. There they are. They're trying. These cute little guys are comfrey. See? Got nice soft leaves. I hear a lot of good things about comfrey. It's what's called a dynamic accumulator, which means it has a long taproot, goes down in the earth, gets nutrients, the nutrients come up into the leaves, and then when the leaves die back, ta-da! You've got a green mulch and kind of a fertilizer too. So that's neat. So I planted a bunch of these around, I don't know, 4 or 5 trees, and they're doing okay. They were doing better until it got real hot out. The ones that are in the shade like this, they're surviving. The other one's kind of shriveled up and croaked. Whoops. Also up under the apple. Come, walk under the apple with me. Oh, here you go. Planted 3 little strawberry plants this spring, and they're taking off, and they're running. Just like I wanted them to. They look a little rough right now. The beetles have been at the leaves, but they've been making some cute little berries. We've had to share the berries with the slugs. I think the slugs like the mulch, but I see a lot of slugs and slug trails here and in the vegetable garden because we have what the hell is it called? Lasagna? No. Back to Eden? Anyway, it's compost with mulch on top. Anyway, slugs like mulch. So we're sharing with them. But, you know, we got a handful of good ones. Which is more than I expected for the first year that we've had the berries here. I just wanted them to live, honestly. So, a couple of berries is fine. Whew. Holy time jump, Batman. Welcome to August. The end of August, actually. It rained and stormed for almost the entire month of July and then a couple of weeks. So, nothing happened out here for most of the summer. And now that the weather is clear, I'm frantically trying to catch up on just simple things like mowing the lawn and weeding, and basically the same stuff I was doing last summer, picking up the fruit that's on the ground, trimming out suckers and things and damage where I find it. Otherwise, I'm afraid to say there's nothing really fun or interesting going on. I have come to the sad conclusion that I'm going to have to remove these 2 baby pear trees. And maybe the other 2 eventually, but they are still doing much better than these. You can see the fire blight has really taken hold all over. And at this point, to trim out, and I have been trimming and trimming and trimming. The pear keeps growing back, but the disease keeps coming back right after it. So at this point, to trim out enough, I would have to come down to the trunk, which is, I think, where the canker is anyway. This is where the bacteria all originate and crawl up the bark from. I don't think there's any saving this little guy, and that hurts me. I hate doing this, but it's kind of like triage. I figure it's better to remove this one and its little brother over there while they're small, while the roots are easy to dig up, than to try to battle with it for the next couple years and have to remove a massive tree. Meanwhile, it's spreading these bacteria to everyone around it. Here, this sucks, but it's good for the sake of example. And I'm glad I found this out ahead of time. See how this tree, the roots come down? There's two nice long tap roots and a little, maybe a third little one. Anyway, they come straight down. That's how tree roots are supposed to go. This one over here, the roots kind of move in a circle. Give you a better angle. So the roots kind of swirl around the main trunk. That happens when the tree either sits in a pot for too long, like it sat on the shelf at the Lowe's or the Home Depot for way too long and got root bound in the pot, or if the planting hole is not big enough and your soil is especially solid, like it's got a lot of clay or a lot of rock in it, and the roots don't have the room to move out. So if this tree were to grow up, it would not be nearly as stable as the one with good, proper tap roots, and would be much more likely to fall over if, a freeze and a thaw happened or a heavy windstorm or something like that hit it.